Hello friends, welcome back to Dainty Gift School of Decor and Decoupage. Today I have a Christmas bauble tutorial for you. I will leave a link to where you can buy some of these bases to make your own. These are the shapes that I started with. They are acrylic teardrop shaped bauble bases. First I give them a good wipe down with some methylated spirit. You could use any other degreaser. Then I tie some jute string onto the baubles so I can hang them up while they're drying after painting and varnishing. Next I applied one coat of difficult surface primer onto the baubles. If you don't have a primer, you can use acrylic or chalk paint instead. Once primer is dry, I used a sponge dabber to put 2 coats of white acrylic paint on, so any decoupage I apply has a solid white base and colours look right. When paint was dry, I moved on to decoupage. I decided to use these little rice paper motifs I had saved from a project that never happened. I wanted to use them up. Also, the smaller the paper, the less creasing you're going to get on a curved surface, so that's always a bonus. To decoupage them on, I applied a coat of decoupage glue onto the spot where I wanted it to go. I then applied the motif on as best as I can. I cannot for the life of me apply paper on a curved surface without it creasing, without ripping it, and I'm not brave enough to start ripping my papers, but I tried my best to keep the creases away from the important parts. And once it was on, I applied another layer of glue over the top. I repeat this process with all 4 images, then let them dry. Next, to blend the border between rice paper and the rest of the ornament, I mixed together some white and yellows to get a light yellow shade. Then I take a sponge and dab on the paint. At this stage I did not know exactly where I was going to go with these ornaments, so I applied the paint all over just in case. After applying the paint, I decided I wanted to add some molds, so first I used this small silicone border mold to make a little round frame around each of the decoupaged images. This is an icing mold that I bought on eBay, by the way, and as always I used Das air drying clay and trade grade PVA glue to make and attach the shapes. I then used a redesign with Prima mold called Delicate Florals to add some flowers on the seam of the bauble, to add some extra decor and make the seam itself a little bit less visible. Once all of the molds were on, I took some pearl drops and added a few droplets around and in between the molds. You could use liquid pearls or contour liner instead. Then I left everything to dry overnight. When the molds are dry, I mix up a brown paint and pencil in my stripe design on to the baubles. I freehanded it, but feel free to use ruler or masking tape to help you with this process. I then painted every other stripe in this brown colour. I had to go over some areas twice to get good coverage. Next I add some red into the mix. I tried to use just straight red, but that turned out too bright, so I mixed it together with the brown that I already had. And I filled in the other half of the stripes. The red colour I used did not cover the cream colour underneath as well, so I had to go over it 3 times. Here's what they looked like once I was done with the stripes. So I'll move on to painting the moulds, and since I wanted to use metallic paint over them, I first take black gesso and paint my moulds black so that metallic paints stand out more. You could use black or brown acrylic paint instead. When gesso is on, I take gold, green and red metallic paint and paint the moulds. I used green paint for the leaves, red for the flowers and gold for the rope. I originally wanted to apply 2 coats of metallic paint to get good coverage, but I decided against it because I liked the way that it looked with some black showing through. Once I've painted the mould, I took liquid leaf, which is highly pigmented, solvent-based metallic paint, a tiny brush, and I painted over all of the pearl drops and added gold lines in between each of the stripes on the bauble. Please excuse my wild, uncontrollable hair getting into the shot. Next, since you already know there were some creases on the rice paper, instead of fighting them, I used Step Crackle to mask them. I used this large Step Crackle by Daily Art, which once again I cannot get it to give me large cracks, but oh well. I applied step 1 over the pictures, then once it was dry, applied step 2 and waited for cracks to appear. Once the cracks had showed up, I used copper metallic pigment that had a little bit of black soft pastel mixed into it, just to make it a little bit darker. I used a fluffy brush to get it into the cracks, then used paper towel to wipe away the excess. To seal the baubles, I used Daily Art gloss varnish. You can use any other varnish you like. I chose this one because I had not used it yet. I applied 5 very thin coats of varnish to each bauble, letting it dry in between each coat. The key to varnishing vertical surfaces or hanging surfaces like this one is to apply very thin coats so that it does not drip down. I used a plate to pick up the varnish from because it comes in a squeezy bottle, making it very hard to control the amount that you apply directly from the bottle. Once I was finished with varnishing, I added bows and hanging string. I used red and green together to mirror the colours used on the bauble. I made 2 bows to go on either side of the string, then glued them on. For the last little touch, I used a dry natural bristle brush and white acrylic paint to fade the brightness of satin ribbon. It stood out a little bit too much for my liking. I also ended up brushing on some white onto the bauble itself. I did not seal it after, so if it comes away with time, then it's my own fault. But acrylic paint can be quite tough once it had time to set. And there you guys go. We've reached the end of the project, and now you know how to make cute Victorian looking baubles like these ones if you wanted to have a go. Was all of this worth it? I don't know. I'm still a little bit cross-eyed from staring at metallic paint for so long while painting the molds, so let me know what you think. For my question of the day, what I want to know is, do you have a colour scheme for your Christmas decor? Or do you have all sorts on your tree and around your house? Let me know in the comments. As always, links for everything mentioned in this video are going to be down below. Like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more. Lots of love from my house to yours, and I will see you next time. Bye!